Morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers, and freedom fighters. Snapzilla Gorilla, hitting y'all with this quick live stream. Man, is it humid as hell. Man, it's humid. But your boy out here getting his ruck on anyway. How y'all doing this morning? I wanted to touch on something real quick. You guys probably know Xander. Good morning. Good morning, nephew. Great quality hat from Coleon the Omar, y'all. Great quality, right? Oh, no, it's not sewn on. Anyway, so you guys are familiar with what's going on in Los Angeles and other parts of the world. There are ICE protests going on. ICE are doing raids, performing raids to a lot of them are of Hispanic descent, especially a lot of Mexicans coming out of California, Los Angeles or whatever, where I was born and raised. And there are naturally a lot of frustrated, and they are going through it, right? Especially those voted for Donald Trump, right? They voted for Donald Trump, especially seeing as how Donald Trump, before he even became president again, told y'all what he was gonna do. And his, the guy he hired to be in charge of this stuff, the guy that used to be head of the Border Patrol, he told y'all what he was gonna do, right? And so I don't understand where the surprise is coming from, number one. And number two, I'm gonna say this. I don't hate Mexicans. I don't hate Latinos or anything like that. I don't. I have a lot of friends that are Hispanic and Latin, whatever the fuck. And it is what it is, y'all, right? This is not about blacks against brown, right? What it is about when was brown ever in solidarity with black when we needed it? Or when we continue to need it. We need it now, right? We need alliances. We need allies in the fight against systematic racism, which exists. Even if we don't want to acknowledge it, it exists. People will deny it. You know, the coons out there, like the conservative twins, the Hodge twins, they'll deny it. They're flat out aiding and abetting racists in this country. So our own people aren't even in solidarity, right? We have our own people that will turn coat, go against code and stand on the side of the racist motherfuckers, right? They'll do that. And when we got shit going on, when we want to talk about reparations, when we want to talk about, getting a fair shake, when we talk about the existence of systematic racism, we don't get any assistance from the brown at all. I haven't seen it. I have never seen it. You know what I'm saying? It's always us. And it's and the reason we know this is true is because of terms like, black fatigue. Black fatigue, right? Wokey woke. All these terms they use to denigrate, black people. Queen Sister Cameron, good morning to you. They don't stand in solidarity with us, y'all. They don't. Now they might be cool with you when you go to work and, you guys eat lunch together, or you guys talk about boxing, or you talk about whatever, on an individual basis, you might have a lot of them. But when someone like George Floyd is murdered, or Trayvon Martin, or somebody like that, they don't give a hot fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's never like, oh man, what was done to him was wrong. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any outspoken Latino celebrity speaking out against that type of shit, against persecution of black folks. You know, even though they love our culture, you know, they like to dress like us, they like to say nigga, you know what I'm saying? They'll call you a nigga in a hot minute. Well, where's your African descentage? Where's your African descent? Are you of African descent? You know what I'm saying? Do you have ancestral slaves? Slaves are ancestors? What we got going on here? They will use our language, they will use our culture, but they not like us. See, it's okay to be different, right? It's okay to, you know, it's okay to acknowledge those differences. It's okay to even enjoy those differences, like, you know, y'all, like they enjoy black culture. But, you know, but then the hatred is real deep down inside. I'm not saying all Mexicans, I'm not saying all brown folk. I'm saying in general, they will not stand in solidarity with you at all. Sister Cameron says, I deal with it every day being the only black person providing therapy where I work, and the other blacks or even brown are whitewashed. Exactly. You see, they think they can pass. They think they're passing. And it's like I told y'all before, right? If you go against your own people, or if brown goes against black, they will exalt you to a certain degree. They will raise you up, but they won't raise you up to what they perceive to be their level, because they understand, right? When push comes to shove, you know, and it's gonna be them against you, point blank, period. In reality, we should be standing in solidarity, because understand this: a lot of Mexicans, a lot of Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, you know, all those cultures down there, they are of indigenous descent for the most part, right? Yeah, the Spaniards came and conquered much of South and Central America, right? And they spread their seed, and, you know, they spread their genes throughout, and it turned into what it turned into. And then you still have purely indigenous Native Americans down there in the South America they're black as midnight. You know what I'm saying? And they live very what one would call savagely, but they are just living their life as their ancestors did. But a lot of the Mexicans, a lot of the South Americans believe that they're European because they speak Spanish. When in reality, there are very few pure Spaniards down there. And if you look at a lot of the Mexicans, and a lot of the South Americans and the Central Americans, they don't look anything like a Spaniard. You understand what I'm saying? They just speak Spanish. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. Many Latin people from South America and Central America are not European at all. They're still, a lot of them are still purely indigenous, because even when the Spaniards went down there and conquered, yeah, they spread their seed around and all this other shit, but they did it very minimally, right? They still tried to keep a pure line down there. Look at Canelo. Y'all think Canelo is Aztec or Mayan? He's not. You know what I'm saying? His family line is basically purely Spaniard, right? They just, you know, they were in Mexico for a very long time. I know his cousin. I know Canelo's cousin. I grew up with him. Dude, if you didn't know, if he didn't speak Spanish, you would think he was a white dude. You know what I'm saying? He might have a little more Aztec or Mayan in him than Canelo. But you would think he's white. And when he talks, he sounds like a white dude, right? He sounds like a white dude that grew up around black people, because he did. But he's Mexican. He has the red hair, pale skin, freckles. But, you know, he understands that he's Spaniard. He knows that. He knows that Canelo is Spaniard. You understand what I'm saying? But there are very few real Mexicans that are actually Spaniard. Anyway, so here's the thing, y'all. A lot of Mexicans are racist. They don't like black folks. They don't like us. They despise us, actually, a lot of them, because they are fighting to be the majority minority. They want to be the majority. God damn, I forgot to bring my drink. They are fighting to be, Cameron says, delusional as hell. Facts. They are. They are fighting to be the majority minority, right? They want to be the new Irish, if you know what I'm talking about. And they don't like us. I grew up in Los Angeles, y'all, where there are a lot of Mexicans, a lot, and they're racist, trust me. I have had to deal with that racism, you know what I'm saying, from Mexicans growing up, point blank, period. From the children, from when I was a kid, all the way until I left Cali. Facts. When I got out the military, I went back to LA and I joined this group. I was part of this group. It was one of those Hotep two-steps groups that I told y'all about. All the spoken word, you know what I'm saying? We went to the colleges and spoke, you know, we did all that shit, right? And we joined a community call to action. And we went to the meetings every Tuesday. And we had meetings about how we could improve conditions for black folks, you know, in LA. And we had to do, so they asked us, me and a group of us, to go to, I think it was Hamilton High School in LA. Now, Hamilton High School is a rough ass high school, right? It used to be mostly black when I was a kid. But by the time I got to the Army, it was half Mexican, half black, pretty much. And what was going on was, there were race riots going on at this high school where the Hispanics were basically, and so they asked us to go down there and basically stand guard and make sure that there were no, you know, no bullshit going on to prevent race riots. Were initiated by the Mexican kids. And these were instructions. A lot of them were gang members, right? A lot of them were gangs, a lot of them were party gangs, a lot of them had gang member families. And what happened was, we went up there and we showed a presence, and it prevented, nothing happened when we were around, but these were instructions. So, you know, this is what I was in my 20s, right? In the 2000s. And also, before I got with this Hotep two-step group, I used to, I don't know what I was thinking. I was all about getting the house, you know, poontang as I could, getting as much coos as possible. I was a coos hound. You understand what I'm talking about? I was a successful coon hound. And I used to just trying to get it in, you know what I'm saying? And we would, this was around the era where we were wearing all these Pro Club white t-shirts. These white Pro Club t-shirts, black Pro Club t-shirts. You know, the oversized, you know what I'm saying? If I needed a large or extra large, I would wear a 4X. It would be crispy white, you know what I'm saying? All that shit, no wrinkles. Just because that was what the deal was. That was what it was. And, you know, for some reason, the Mexican gangs, right? 18th Street, you know the ones, They decided that they wanted to target black folks that wore white t-shirts. And it didn't matter if they were in the gang or not. Oh yeah, we just gonna wet. They called it the wet t-shirt contest. They called it the wet t-shirt contest. Y'all can probably Google it. They sent out memos, right? This is before social media. They sent out memos and spread it around to all the Mexican gangs. Black folks got a hold of it. The police got a hold of it. And they had been instructed to, if they saw a black person wearing white t-shirts, to wet them up. Wet the t-shirt up. This is real, y'all. This is real. And, you know, they did wet a few t-shirts up. Now, there was a lot of police intervention that prevented a lot more that could have happened, but there you had it. Now, in LA, they're doing these protests and they're asking the Mexicans, right, including Ryan Garcia, are asking, well, not Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is asking Trump to stop, but you have Mexicans out there. They want us to stand in the pocket. They want us to stand in the pocket with them. What was it? Excuse me? Excuse me? You mean your plan to replace us is being brought to shambles and you want us to help you continue to replace us? Is that what you're telling me? You want to become the majority minority, and that is not working out so well for you because they are actually deporting y'all, not, you know, the illegal ones, right? The ones that are, you know, the ones that are fucked off their visas, you know, that they try to make us have sympathy for. The ones that are criminals, the murderers, the grandmas and the papas. I mean, if you came here illegally, you know, it is what it is. The great replacement that you guys try to initiate, it's not working out. So you want us to come help you. Well, where were y'all when we wanted to talk about reparations, right? Where were y'all when we wanted to talk about police reform? You know, they introduced the bill to get rid of qualified immunity for police officers. Where was the solidarity for that? That was just us wanting the pigs to stop murdering us, right? But y'all didn't give a hot fuck about that. Y'all didn't care about that bill. Could have ended qualified immunity and held individual police officers accountable by making them susceptible to lawsuits for being murderers. When the criminal courts or the criminal justice system didn't want to do shit, right? You can't. Am I back, guys? Put a Romeo Lima Charlie and RLC in the chat if I'm back and you can hear me. And RLC. Ooh-wee. Oh, I'm good? Okay, cool. So, now, there were, and I'm speaking for my own history and my own experience in Los Angeles, where there used to be a lot more black neighborhoods, and then what happened was the picture is black and white. Of course it is. You know, they like to fuck with my live streams. What's good, Flying Brian? There used to be a lot more black neighborhoods in in Los Angeles, but you know, throughout this is what happened. A lot of the Mexican gangs, right? They wanted to start living in these neighborhoods, and they would drive us out through violence, right? They would use violence, not in places like South Central, right? Crenshaw, the Crenshaw district, where there was a lot of black gang activity. They didn't fuck with them. No. They fuck with the black folks that were on the outer parts of Los Angeles, right? Near the valley and all that other shit, right? They would drive us out of there and through violence, right? So that's why there's a lot of, even on the east side, East LA, there were a lot of black neighborhoods in East LA. They drove us out of there through violence, right? Through violence, their gangs, right? Because there were not a lot of gang activity from black folks out there. So they would pick on what they considered to be the weaker among us, communities, right? And had their own economy going. And then they will continue to terrorize, right? What's good, Joseph? So this is what happened. Where was the solidarity then? Where was the solidarity, right? It wasn't like when black folks moved to white neighborhoods from the South, a lot of them from Mississippi and, places like that. They'd leave back in the early 1900s, throughout the 1900s, all the way to 1980, 1990. It wasn't like when, we drove white folks away by just showing up, not through violence, because they were violence toward us, right? They would try to keep us away through violence. So, and we just showed up, trying to live our lives. Queen Sister Cameron said her brother stayed in San Bernardino's, ooh-wee. That's still Los Angeles County. San Bernardino. It's San Bernardino County, yes, but they drove us out of there too. Now, it's not like when we showed up and they left because we just showed up and they thought, well, they're gonna bring our property value down. F them N-words, right? No. Violence, right? We weren't like, oh, let's leave. We don't want these Mexicans. No. That's not how it worked. Completely different scenario. Completely different. So there you have that. Where was the solidarity then? Well, I'll tell you what. The non-gang member Mexicans that lived in these neighborhoods where their gang member counterparts drove black people out, they benefited from that. They got to live there. They got to open their stores up. You know what I'm saying? They got to sell their tamales up and down the street. Oh, yeah. We speak in reality today. Well, every day I speak reality, but that's what happened. Now, again, I don't think, do I believe all Mexicans are like this, or, do I think they're all racist and all that? No. But as a group, right? As a group, as a culture, as a community, they can be and are just as racist as white people. Even though there are white people that aren't racist. Do you understand what I'm saying? In general, Mexicans, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans are just as racist as white folks, right? And what's funny is Dominicans are black as hell. They're super black Dominicans that don't even believe they're black. And if their children started dating black folks, they'll disown them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Adam Fanfiction says, this is your country, never let anyone say differently. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, facts. Now, everybody came from Africa, right? Humans were born in Africa. The first human was born in Africa, and we spread out. And we changed with the conditions. wherever we settled, right? But that was through hundreds of thousands of years. Through hundreds of thousands of years, there have been changes. There have been changes in the skeletal structure. There have been changes in phenotype. There have been changes due to the physiological changes due to the environment that we settled in, and we changed. We changed. That's the reality. We changed to fit the conditions, to survive the conditions over time. And from there came different cultures, right? Once we became more self-aware and, became more intelligent, and our brains grew, and we started using tools and started writing and using language. Well, we are separated now, and so we have different languages, different cultures, different customs and all that stuff, and some of them are very similar. But at the end of the day, we're different now, right? We're different. But we can also acknowledge where we come from. Tower of Babel, Dev Layer says. Okay. I believe I'm back, y'all. Sorry for the interruption. Adam Fanfiction says, we have more in common than what makes us different. We all want to be loved and our families to be safe. This transcends any differences. I agree. But the dominant culture tries to and succeeds at keeping us divided, right? The government, the people that run the government, the elite class, they don't care about race nearly as much as you do, or I do. But they use it to maintain control, right? Divide and conquer. But they will always people first. That's just in their nature. That's just in their nature. It's in their nature to say, you know what? I'm going to use divide and conquer, right? I'm going to divide my people against their people, have them hate each other in all these different things. I don't hate black people nearly as much as the proletariat, those proletariat members of my culture, but I will use them against each other, right, to maintain control. But I will always put my people first, right? That's what the dominant culture does. And that's what every dominant culture it does. I mean, whether the dominant culture is black, white, or whatever, it just depends on the motives of that dominant culture. But unfortunately, throughout history, it's been proven that every dominant culture throughout time, they always are corrupted, because power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the key to break us of these chains is to understand that one man should not hold power over another man. Every individual has the right to have sovereignty over their own bodies and over their own mind and over their own actions. Individual sovereignty is how we break the chains, right? Not replacing one power base with another one. Because what ultimately happens is, if you have a small group of people, or if you have a large group of people that have power over another group of people, because it is being deemed that they know better than you. Well, I know better than you, right? That's how congressmen and senators came about, right? Because, they're supposed to represent their constituents, right? They're supposed to represent the interests of their constituents, and they know what's good for their constituents more than their constituents do. That's the idea behind a representative democracy, the one we live in. But there's no way that one person or a group of people can represent so many millions of people. It's just impossible. So the best thing to do is for the individual to have sovereignty over their own lives and their own person, and their own families, and their own communities. Depends on how you want to scale it. Now, if you want to be a part of a community that has a certain custom and all these different things, a certain system, and you are aligned with that system and you agree with that system, you have every right to whether they have a leader or a chief or a king or whatever, you have the right to opt in or out of that system and go do your own thing or join another system that is more in line with your beliefs. But that's not the society we live in. It's to go along to get along, right? If you, don't buck the system, don't rock the boat, right? Don't rock the boat, or you're going to be left out in the cold, right? That's how it works. Adam Fanfiction says, maritime admiralty law over the law of the land is their game. Exactly. So that's just what it is, y'all. Just got through rucking. I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna get this stretch in, and I'm gonna holler at y'all later, man. But thank you for joining me. Now, this, like I said, this is not about hate or anything. This is just about reality. It's just about reality. I have never seen it. The solidarity that they're asking for us to come to them with, I've never seen it from them. And that's just what it is. But please hit that like button on the way out. Like, share, subscribe if you want. And then guess what? We're going to keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.